Terence Crawford believes that Canelo Alvarez is a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. Unbelievable. I don't agree with this at all. I think this is disrespectful to Manny Pacquiao because Pacquiao is one of the best we've ever seen in the sport. I think Pacquiao is the best fighter of all time, and Manny's always been my favorite fighter, but there's a reason why he's been my favorite fighter, because I understand, there are great fighters out there, great boxers, hit and not get hit is the trend right now. I think that's the hype train. Everybody's getting on that hype bus for, the bandwagon for hit and not get hit in the sport. But you guys got to remember who Manny Pacquiao is. People are talking about hit and not get hit, magnifying that kind of stuff right now. And that is part of the sweet science. That is the sweet science. But don't forget about what made boxing popular, the entertainment aspect. And Pacquiao has given us so many wars, so many big fights, never shied away from any big name, big opportunity. He took these fights without even second guessing himself. And that's why, in my opinion, he's the best of all time. Because if you look at it, who at 46 can go in there and compete with a champion, let alone hurt a champion like Mario Barrios? Because I believe Pacquiao hurt Barrios, and that's why Barrios was giving him so much respect in that ring. It's just crazy to see. I know everybody talks Pacquiao, Floyd, but Floyd's not active anymore. Look at the longevity of Pacquiao's career. At 46 years old, 2025, he's still in contention for a welterweight world championship. That's crazy. I feel like people don't understand what they're witnessing, because everybody was like, oh, Pacquiao's going to get knocked out by Barrios, and then look what happened. And now everybody that was saying Pacquiao was going to get stopped, they're quiet now. Crickets. Because Pacquiao's special. People don't understand how good he is. And when everybody was like, oh, what is Pacquiao doing? He's fighting for the money. Of course he doesn't fight for the money. I visited Pacquiao. I saw his apartment. He's renting out a top floor all for his team like nothing happened. And for people to say that he fights for money is just crazy. He fights for a legacy. He loves the sport of boxing. That's the thing. He's addicted to the thrill of the sport. He loves it. He's obsessed with boxing. He loves boxing. He loves to fight. And that's what he loves most. He loves the sport of boxing. I got to tell you time and time again. So just going back to Terence Crawford saying that Canelo's better than Manny Pacquiao, I think that's crazy. Let me know what you guys think. But Terence Crawford literally just said that Canelo is a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao. And I don't know if he's trying to hype up, the fight with Canelo Alvarez, implying that if he beats Canelo, he's going to give himself more credit. Because, I said he's better than Pacquiao, but there's no way Canelo's better than Manny. There's just no way. And people bring up stuff like, oh, Terence says that because he believes that Pacquiao's on steroids. Canelo's actually failed drug tests. Manny Pacquiao has never failed a drug test in his entire career. Everybody speculates that Pacquiao was on steroids. All right, show me the test that he failed. You know what I mean? Like, everybody says that. Everybody says the same thing over and over again. But Pacquiao, he's just one of those special talents. Just accept the facts that he's one of the best fighters we've ever seen in the sport of boxing. To go up 108 all the way to 154 is crazy, and it's never going to be done again. Just accept the facts that Pacquiao did it. He already passed it. He passed every drug test, and every time he had to rise to an occasion, he did it. He put everything on the line. No hesitation, trusted his skills, didn't care, didn't cherry pick. He didn't wait to fight certain fighters until, they weren't in their primes anymore, until they were damaged goods. He fought the best whenever they wanted to sign a contract. Pacquiao's one of those guys. So I just personally didn't like to hear that from Terence Crawford. I don't know, maybe it's because Terence Crawford never got that Pacquiao fight, never got that Floyd Mayweather fight, but to say that Canelo's better than Pacquiao, that's crazy. That's probably like the worst take I've ever seen in the sport of boxing. And I'm not even trying to disrespect Canelo. I think he's a great fighter, but he's nowhere near Manny Pacquiao's pedigree or that status or that legendary seat at the table. No offense, he's the cash cow of boxing right now. I think he's one of the only big names left in the sport, one of the biggest draws right now, Canelo Alvarez, but he's nowhere near Manny Pacquiao, not even close. He's going to make the Hall of Fame, don't get me wrong, but don't even mention Canelo Alvarez and Manny Pacquiao in the same sentence. You could mention Manny and Floyd. Their names are always going to be attached to each other because they put on the biggest pay-per-view event of all time. They were supposed to fight earlier. That would have been a more exciting fight. I'm not saying Pacquiao would have beat Floyd head-to-head. I think styles make fights, and Floyd's style is just a difficult style for Pacquiao. But I'm just saying, you're talking greatness. Manny Pacquiao is the best of all time when it comes to greatness. Floyd, much respect to him, but I feel like he did certain stuff to make sure that he was gonna win, you know, and I'm not trying to say he's a cheater because he's not a cheater, but he was very strategic in his approach to boxing. And every boxing fan can read between the lines and know that Floyd Mayweather took steps that gave him an edge in every single fight that he had. You know, he was great. He's one of the best defensive fighters of all time. I think he's the best of all time when it comes to defense. But if you're talking about greatness, Pacquiao is that guy. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will catch you guys on the next Nabs boxing video. Peace.